So I'm still catching up on a lot of my laser reviews, and in this video I'm going to look at this one. This is an Atezr diode laser, and before you say, wait, you looked at an Atezr laser not that long ago, you'd certainly be right, because that was the P20, and if you haven't seen that review, you can click up above here and go watch that. This is the Atezr V35. This is a 35 watt diode laser, and it should rock our worlds. And in this video, we're going to find out. How's it going, everybody? Steve here, and welcome to the shop. Welcome back if you're a regular viewer. Glad to have you back. Now, not too long ago, I did a review on the Atezr P20, a 20 watt diode laser from Atezr. Very, very good laser. If you're in the market for a 20 watt laser, you certainly want to consider that one. You can check with other channels. If you go look at Rich's channel, the Louisiana Hobby Guy, he loved the Atezr P20 as well. But this laser is different. This laser is the Atezr V35. Now think about that. That's a 35 watt diode laser. This thing should be amazing for cutting, and we're going to find out. I want to get through a little bit of a full disclosure first. So Atezr didn't send me an entirely new laser. What they sent me was an upgrade to the P20 that I already had. I don't know if they're going to make that option available, so don't assume that what I'm telling you here will apply. But effectively, this laser is now a V35, the same exact V35 that you would buy from Atezr directly. So with that little disclosure, we can get moving here, and we'll put this laser through its paces. We'll definitely do some cutting, because I'm really interested to find out how much better this is at cutting. And in the end, we'll come up with a bit of a summary here to see what they've done really well, and maybe what they could still work on. And we'll come up with a bit of a score at the end, and hopefully you'll want to buy one of these. So let's get going. Okay, so before we really get going here, let's take a quick look at the differences. So on the left here, we have the 20 watt laser module, and on the right, we have the 35 watt. And the only real difference, they're about the same width and depth. The only real difference is the height. It's the 35 watt is a little bit taller, so not only have they found a way to compress the inside of the laser itself, they've also taken up a little more space, because they do have more diodes stacked up here. Now I will point out, because I did a recent video, and I'll put a link up above, where I made this little jig for the 20 watt laser, because this very highly reflective surface was here and you want to be able to take it out. They have gone to a more straightforward, just orange acrylic on the front of the 35 watt. And hopefully that allows us to see the laser a little better when we're doing some sighting in. So kudos to Atezr for making a bit of an improvement here. Hopefully this is a much better option. All right, so let's take a quick look at some results. Now, I didn't really stress anything on engraving here, because honestly, it's a diode laser. It'll engrave pretty awesomely. So what I focused on was mostly cutting. However, I did do a gradient scale test, and it looks pretty good. It's definitely got a little more power than the 20 watt, and here's the comparison. The Atezr P20 versus the V35, if I can get them both in frame here. And you can see definitely there's a little more oomph going on here. Even up the 10% column, this laser turns on just slightly earlier than the P20 does. So that's the extent of engraving I did. I did focus mostly on cutting. So I started with some acrylic, and diode lasers are kind of notorious for not being great at cutting acrylic. But if you get something that's a little darker, off-white, it'll cut just fine. And what's next? Speaking of acrylic, these are all one-pass tests, by the way. This is a 9mm piece of black acrylic, and you can see in one pass it just carved through this. It was pretty amazing. Then I switched to wood, and I started with, this is about a 3/16 inch thick piece of solid walnut, and with a power setting of 100% with a speed of 180 millimeters per second. per minute, sorry, it was able to just punch out a really nice cutting of walnut. So definitely does fairly big solid pieces of wood. So not to be dissuaded, I tried to cut a piece of, this is actually 6mm hardware store plywood, which is notoriously hard to cut. And again, the settings here, I was only at 120 millimeters per minute. Still 100% power, but as you can see, it just chopped through it again. This is one pass, so this is really impressive. And for the final test, I did my 1/4 inch maple cutting test with 1 pass, 2 pass, 3 pass, 4 pass. By comparison, the P20 was able to cut through, I believe it was at 3 and 4 passes. And I believe the 2 pass was there as well. The D1 Pro could cut through with 3 and 4 passes. With this 35 watt, and again, the intent here isn't to cut through, the intent is to see how many passes it takes with the same power. That's pretty slick. So cutting is amazing with this laser, and again, it's a good engraver as well. So those are the results. All right, so you saw the results here, and they're actually spectacular. I mean, you would expect a 35 watt laser to do this, and this is exactly what it does. It can cut through in one pass. It can cut through 9mm black acrylic. It can cut through even lighter colored acrylic you saw there. My rectangle test to see how many passes it takes to cut through a piece of 1/4 inch maple. It cut through every single pass, every single attempt, even on the first pass. This thing's amazing. Now, bit of a look at things they did great and things I think they could still improve. I'll be honest, everything about this V35 is great. I really can't find much wrong with it at all. They added the clearer window so you can actually see framing when you're framing the laser on the material. So they solved another problem that I was having. Power's fantastic. You know, what else can I say? On the downside, again, really nothing. This laser is about as perfect as you can get. And Xtool's lasers better keep an eye behind them, because the Atezr V35 is hot on their heels, and I really don't see a difference why you would pick one of these over the other, to be honest. So anyway, we'll leave it at that. I'll put an affiliate link down below if you're interested in buying one of these. You can help out the channel. What can I say? Get out there and make your world, and maybe a V35 is the way you're going to do that. So I'll see you next time.